Okay, mic check, mic check, mic check. Let's kick this thing off here. Mr. Blue here. Should be able to hear, see the screen, all that good stuff. Welcome, welcome. What's going on, Joe Frank? Dylan, Pinsky. Like the pick. Monthly, weekly, daily. On the pitcher, Dylan K. What's up, Bobby? Daniel King's in the house. And we got Mark Wahlberg in here. Cool. Welcome to some Phantoms in here. Welcome to some folks that are visiting the YouTube channel here, TradePhantoms.com. Mr. Blue, I'm your guide, your host. I'll be here for about an hour, give or take, do some pre-market prep, start with some futures, go over into some individual tickers, and of course, take you to the open, ding, 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 9:30 a.m. Eastern when that bell rings. See if we can get a couple of setups off the opening out of the gate. TradePhantoms.com, Tuesday, second week beginning here of October, brings us to the 7th. 2025. Hopefully everybody's having a good year. Beginning of the Q4 here, entering into the holiday season, etc. Getting busy. But we're here for some financial markets, yeah. So we'll get into that. Before I dive into the actual charts themselves, I bring this up every single morning, no matter what, no matter where I am in the world, streaming or what session I'm in. Demand supply, institutional demand supply, backdrop of Trade Phantoms strategy. Top-down, multiple time frame analysis approach. Even if you are a short-term scalper, just taking a couple of ticks out of the S&P or NASDAQ or gold futures, for example, you still need to know where you're on the higher time frames. You will see a lot of orange, yellows, and blues on my charts, just to give you the kind of lay of the land here. Put SPX in the backdrop here, overlaid to this document here. Quick little checklist regarding for some Phantoms members. So we got monthly, weekly, daily. Orange is the color association for the monthly time frame. Weekly is going to be yellow. So, for example, last week's V-up in yellow here is going to be the color code for that time frame associated. Daily is going to be blue. So yesterday's high, yesterday's low, for example, is highlighted there in blue. Monthly, weekly, daily, orange, yellow, blue. Again, quick little checklist there. Not going to go through this whole thing right now, but we do that in the actual classes and live trade rooms at Phantoms. Bullish candlesticks, a bunch of fancy names. Don't really need to know much about the names or memorize them. Everybody has a kind of slightly different name for everything. Most important is going to be location and context. Context and location. Typically, we're going to be looking for these in the context of uptrends at demand levels. Bearish candlesticks, again, a bunch of fancy names. Context, location, more important. Downtrends into supply. And then we get the liquidity map, super important here. Usually park this over here to the left. Two actions, buys and sells, four possibilities. Okay, buy to enters. Okay, accumulation, sell to exit, distribution. We have sell short to enter, rallies into supply in the context of a downtrend, for example. That's accumulation of shorts, in which at some point buy to covers exits would have to happen. Have this 1, 2, 3, and 4 quadrant 3 and 2 uptrend, 1 and 4 downtrend. We have to put this into multiple time frame analysis to figure out which side is currently on the proper side, meaning bullish or bearish, and ride that. And again, this is definitely not going to be discussed understood in 2 minutes. Definitely need to spend some more time on that, of course, which we do. Let's get into the charts here. I'll start out with what's going on, Charles. Talk to me, Goose. What's going on about Bullish Endeavor? Lily. Uber, hopefully, Uber. Own Uber, long-term account. Let's go, Oobs. I'll start off with futures here. Major 4. Got the S&P upper left, NASDAQ upper right, Dow Jones lower left, Russell 2000 on the bottom right. Daily time frame across the board. Mainly the S&P and the NASDAQ are going pretty well here. All-time highs. Don't get me wrong. You got small caps here trying to chug its way, grinding higher, just respecting that 20. Nice little higher low sequence here. Fed cutting rates, etc. Small caps like that. News, of course. But we'll start off here with the S&P right here. And here's the comp price right now. Got a daily time frame. I know it's going to be a little hard to see these. I like to keep kind of the past work, etc. But here we are right now. Essentially all-time highs, right? S&P futures, daily time frame here. All-time highs, essentially. Well, I shouldn't really say that. We're flirting with it right now. Pre-market quote, or the market quote, I should say. 67.97. All-time high was 2 days ago, give or take. On Friday, last Friday, 6,800 in the S&P futures. So there's really no objective level of supply above. We have this thing called market maker gamma exposure, which we're going to be looking for above price, which I'll get to in a moment, for any type of kind of supply that could potentially come into the market. Because if, typically once we look up and left, we want to look for an objective level of supply, and we don't have that. We're in the abyss. of essentially all-time highs. This was once the previous all-time high before the correction. Then we pulled back into the 20, blah blah blah, inside bar, green bar, rally back up our new all-time highs. So now, of course, we have this 6,800 as that new all-time high. So this was a big psych, not right all-time high for a moment, for a week or two, but this is a psych. All right, because now we have a new one. All right, we'll just reference that as a little corny joke there. Okay. And also, we could use this as well as we had this pivot high here. We have a correction. We have a new all-time high. We could potentially be using this as a potential, correction on the other side there. So I will keep that as a reference there as that previous new all-time high tag. And as we dip back down, this is what's called the sweet spot. Okay. And if you ever gone through essentials there, Trade Phantoms, you'd know kind of what I'm talking about there. Speaking in regard to that as well, we have the 20 pin moving average, which is, I love that 20 pin moving average just as a nice filter, and it's going very well right now in the context of an uptrend. Just referencing that as well, that comes in at about 66.90. We also have a level kind of mapped out 66.99 in there. That was a belt hold on the smaller time frames that kind of kicked off this little hold for this little breakout move into the new high here. I might be speaking a different language to some. Don't worry, I will drop down to small time frames and be more structured in terms of mapping out what's called our Globex traps bullish. It's going to be a little bit difficult to map out what's called a bearish trap as we're at all-time highs, but I'll get to that in a moment. Switch over to NASDAQ, same thing. Yesterday, essentially, we had made a new all-time high, right? So, just marking out that level there. Short story long here, long story short, here's the current price. Yesterday, we did have a nice little close, green bar close above the NASDAQ here. A bit of an impulsion here, move, making a new high. And then we have a little bit of a basing, I would say Thursday into Friday. Monday, yesterday, nice little green bar, positive COG close. And futures are already up, NASI here, daily time frame, 0.26%. So, this bar closing is all other things being equal, right? This is going to be what's called a 1, 2, 3 go positive COG. So what that means in English is that we could potentially have a higher probability of fall through to the upside, okay, potentially today for the NASDAQ. We are going to drop down to the small time frame and map out what's called our Globex traps. Referencing that 20 pin moving average there as well, 24,740. 710. I apologize. 24,710. Okay, got a daily 20 pin moving average here. Again, just a reference point for a nice little mean revert at some point in the event that we do potentially go down. Okay, come down for, I'm talking like a little bit of a bigger correction, nothing crazy. Okay, but there's that 20 right there. As you can see, when the markets get a little bit away from there a little bit, kind of want to pull back into that. All right, we'll drop down to small time frames right now. Dow Jones, kind of boring, at least in my world. No offense to anybody who trades that. Small caps, kind of boring in my world as well. No offense to anybody who trades that. Don't get me wrong, I love me some small caps here and there, but the party's at NASDAQ and S&P still, so I like to go to where the party's at mainly. All right, they're trying to build a case for small caps on these rate cuts. I get that, and don't get me wrong, there's some thesis there, but it's been a grindy trade for the past couple of years there. So I do have this monthly here, weekly here, daily here. All right, monthly, weekly, daily. Super important. What's going on, Shane? What's going on, Bucket? Monthly, weekly, daily, no matter what, even if you're on a small, again, as I mentioned, you got more people kind of scrambling in here. Welcome. Even if you're on a small time frame, you still need to know where you're on the bigger picture, being that monthly, weekly, daily time frame. However, we will drop down as well, in addition to the higher time frames, to the smaller time frames. Got a 60-minute time frame here, upper left, 30-minute down here, bottom left, followed by a 5-minute here in the middle, hard right edge, 2-minute time frame on the right, S&P futures, 1-hour time frame. As you can see, here's the current price. Okay, nice up, slightly up 0.15%. We had a little bit of a pullback overnight. This gray space here is the overnight session. Okay, overnight meaning the Globex high, Globex low. Okay, we'll map that out in a moment. Just real quick, I like to keep a little bit of the work there for members as well. We had, Friday, last time we were together on Friday, we had Globex high, Globex low. Interesting because markets kind of were grindy a little bit in the morning, rallied up, made a new high. We had negative GEX below all day on Friday. We actually filled that negative GEX in, broke the Globex low to this little kind of odd level right below said Globex low, retest level to the previous all-time high, as I mentioned there as a retest. And that was Friday's low here. And then this was, of course, Sunday overnight. Monday was a nice little simple day, kind of. We just opened up and just kind of like grinded higher, nothing too crazy there. That was yesterday. And then overnight here today, of course, getting to now, the current now, just still basing overnight here, right? So we opened up a little bit of an up day yesterday, nothing crazy at all. Then we just pulled back overnight, base, and we're starting to pop. Starting to pop a little bit here in said overnight session at the moment. Globex high means overnight high, which is right there. We're actually making it right now as we speak. Okay, now that could, if we were over the next couple of minutes or so, hypothetically make a quick little new high right here, breaking the new all-time high, then we have to update that new Globex high right there. Okay, looks like it's sifting to want to do that at the moment. This is going to be our new Globex low here for this morning today. Okay, and the strategy is in the event that we do break the Globex low, looking down, and here's compress. Okay, so we'd have to, which by the way just made a new high, new all-time high. Yay, right? Record-breaking new all-time high. We're in it together, right? Or we're here together talking about it right now. Weird, right? But new all-time high, nothing surprising there. Okay, if we were to break this Globex low potentially today, looking down and left, looking for an institutional level of demand, okay, to trap people who are looking to sell, right, chase price lower, red bar, into a level of demand in the context of an uptrend, trap trade, right? So if we look down and left, do we have demand? We do, kind of ugly and tested, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. As you can see over the past couple of, sessions, if you will, after that drop that we had 2 weeks ago, okay, right before October, okay, there was a pullback there, and then we just kind of rally back up, base, break, and this is kind of a basing here, and as you can see, we could potentially have a basing and a potential break here today, right? We're not super stretched out here, so we might be able to get some room here, and if we were all the way up here, far away from the kind of VWAP, which is that white dash line, and the 20 and the 50 EMA as well, that'd be a little bit different, but as we potentially base, we could potentially have a break. Okay, as we start to rally up here, then I would want to be a little bit more cautious in terms of, okay, be careful because pullback imminent, right? However, if we do get that maybe later today or something like that, because Friday it took kind of later afternoon for that bigger pullback. In the event that we do have a Globex low tag, we have this level of demand. We can reference, Friday's low, and then we also have this level of demand, which is the actual level of demand, 67.45. Okay, we have a massive impulse, basing impulse right here, where we tagged right there. Beautiful Globex trap last Thursday for the team. Okay, rally back up, and then we just had these couple of crappy levels, right? That markets have just kind of sifted out and not broken here. So we could still use this as a reference here. But if I were to ask some Phantoms members, is this level fresh or prime? The answer would be no, right? We've been tested a couple times here, so we want to be a little cautious on this 67.60 handle. Okay, we also can use yesterday's low, which would be about right here, 6766, as a potential liquidity sweep as well for a G-trap lower down in here at the 67.50. Okay, that would be aggressive. I still want to keep on the dock at 67.45 as a potential G-trap as well, okay, because that's where that's had some nice levels there. This is all kind of messy and tested here multiple times, okay, but I will put an aggressive notation here below yesterday's low for an aggressive G-trap at the 67, 67.50, 67.55 handle. IBM, let's go. All right. And I'll just write this. I'll keep that gray. Gray means kind of be careful with it. And this is going to be what, 67.55 G-trap low. Put a little bit of an asterisk on this for aggressive. All right, with the 674.45 down there too, every daily low. So a couple of orders there, entry orders 6735. This is all recorded, so you can go back and check. All right, below yesterday's low could be a sweep. All right, referencing a level. All right, above Globex high, we just made a new all-time high here. All right, there's no objective level of supply. Okay, so we have to look for what's called positive gamma. Okay, and I will get to that in a moment. I got to move on looking at the time here. Oh my God, 9:04 a.m. Eastern already. NASDAQ futures. Where's the Where's the darkness? Charlie Murphy. Phantoms members, inside jokes. Too many of them. But we take care of business though. New all-time high NASI. There's a Globex high, Globex low on Friday. Boom, below the low. We had a couple levels here in regard to demand levels below Friday's Globex low. Right, came down into these levels here. All right, Globex high here now. Just made it. Right now, Globex low here, overnight high, overnight low. Demand zone below Globex low. Look down to the left. All right, still going to be referencing these areas here. Okay. There's a daily yesterday's low here now. That's the regular trading hours, but this is the futures one here. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but this could be the regular trading hours, yesterday's low. So this could be a little bit more of an aggressive tag here. There's yesterday's low, regular trading hours. All right. And this was a previous all-time high, so we can also reference this, right? This would be kind of aggressive. All right, and these been all tested here too, so I want to be a little bit more cautious on these. So 24,935-ish down here. 24,900. All right, just kind of cleaning these up a little bit here. This is at or around a prior day's or a daily low here as well. The 24,940s as well down in here. All right, and yeah, this could be the previous high. Have a little bit of a move up here, right? So what is this? 25,000. So 25,000 down into 24,995-ish could be decent little. I'll keep that gray. Previous all-time high break already kind of retested a couple times here, right? So that's why I'm keeping that kind of gray. This would be aggressive. G-trap long at what? Roughly 25,000. $24,990-ish, right? What's a G-trap? Get to class at Phantoms. We'll cover that in the Futures Club course. Part 3, Futures Focus. All right. All right, we're on all-time high. No objective level of supply. So we got to look at some positive gamma for SPX and then draw the parallels to NASDAQ. Gold on fire. 4,000 plus. A lot of members at Phantoms had that as a target. Shout out Montu. Hit the 4,000 mark there. Just classic. September, big breakout. Going into October, follow through here. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Just these positive CFGs. Just beautiful. Don't have time to get all romantic here with this. Just beautiful tape on gold futures. New all-time high as we speak. All right. That's the Globex high, Globex low. And yeah, we are at all-time highs here. Okay. Monthly, weekly, daily, getting outside of 2 standard deviations. So any new rip higher, we have an impulse, basing impulse right here. Make sure you're TPing diligently up here. Monthly, weekly, daily, up, up, up. So Globex low, that would be a beautiful, beautiful level of demand. These are the previous all-time highs. All right. Which inevitably broke impulse correction. Make impulse move. Okay. New all-time, right? New all-time high, pullback. Okay. New highs here. Breakout. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful level of demand that was left right here. All right. So in the event that we break this Globex low, this is a nice one right there. Okay. Finally broke. There was the base right before the new break of the all-time high right there. So you have an impulse, basing impulse, impulse, basing impulse, levels on levels on levels on levels on levels on gold futures. Anything below Globex low 39.60s. If you get down to the 39.30s, 39.15s ish, 20s, right? This is all going to be G-trap long location. All right. I don't even need to go crazy there because this is just G-trap bullish emphasis. All right. Now for my high-speed traders in here, there's a little something, 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 something right there below current price. A lot of time spent there. Impulse, spacing, a little bit of a high there. So I got some time spent here. So we have to be a little cautious on this. All right, but gold's just a raging bull. So in the event that we break this Globex low, this could be a nice little G-trap here coming in at the 39.50 handle. I want to be extremely careful with this as it's been tested a couple times, but just the law of inertia up, the current market trend up massively, monthly, weekly, daily up. Getting outside of 2 standard deviations on the monthly, weekly, daily, so you got to be a little cautious on this, but this would be an aggressive because it's high up here and the level has been tested, not prime, right? Okay. This 25 handles sweet, to say the least. All right, easy. Next, future VIX. We got a weekly on the left, daily on the right. Transitioning to trading view really quickly. Going to go over some VIX, some options depth really briefly, and go over some tickers. Before the 20 minutes before open, we get the VIX. Short story long, long story short with VIX. If the VIX is going down, market would be going up typically, in most cases, in a normal world, whatever the normal means. Yeah, Bobby says, I'm not shorting this market, but everything seems so extended, even with Bollinger Bands. Indeed. And that's what's happening right now is, yes, we are getting a little bit up here, up high. You can see Fangs kind of calming down a little bit on some of the big ones there. So, yeah, just be cautious, right? This would be a time to maybe put on a little bit of some hedges, give or take. But yeah, still a difficult short. There's really no reason for this market to like crash or anything like that, even though the talking heads on TV, right? But just stay diligent, right? If I had a little more time, we could talk a bit more about that. Maybe tomorrow in the live trade room, we could talk a bit more about that. We have hours and hours and not just 60 minutes, give or take. VIX, we got 16.21 on VIX. Again, very keeping it short and sweet. VIX down, market up. VIX up, market down. A lot more to this. This is 30-day implied vol of SPX. A lot more to volatility. But let's just keep it simple for right now. Just how we mapped out overnight high, overnight low in the S&Ps, NASDAQ, and gold futures. We could do this as well in the VIX, VIX, volatility index. This gray space represents the overnight. So this is the overnight high. Here's the overnight low. Yeah, Meta finally swept below last August low. Interesting, put in a massive candle. The fade trade bullish has not been following through, so we'll see if yesterday's print on the dailies on a monthly tag gives us something this morning. Joe Frank, indeed, sir. Joe Frank's a legend at TradePhantoms.com. I kind of map out, overnight high, overnight low. If VIX were to sustain lower and just continue its grind lower, that would be more bullish. All right. If we were to rally up and continue up and get overnight high and sustain above that, that could be a bit more bearish. Again, opposite correlation there, right? So we'll track that after the market opens for the most part, as well as we just did before the market opens right now, pre-market prep. We got SPY here, ETF of the S&P 500, SPY, one of the biggest ETFs on the planet. A very good market. And pre-market daily time frame over here to the right, weekly on the left. You can just see S&Ps are just on a tear. Okay, end of Q3 just happened last week, right? Give or take coming into month of October, we're up pretty significantly. Okay, even for the year, and definitely for sure off of the tariff day there, Liberation Day, etc. So we got yesterday was essentially just a gap up, and then we just did our thing. It was just a normal market day. Closes a little bit of a doji there. That is a candle there. Yesterday's open here. We had an up move, down move, and then we close here. Right now, key takeaway, we're having a slight gap up. Okay, there's the pre-market quote right there, 15 minutes before the market open there, if you can kind of highlight that. So we're up or gapping up, roughly about 0.16%, give or take. S&Ps are up 15%. And I'll take that information just really briefly because I just want to give you all some reference into what's called gamma. So I do want to give you all some reference in terms of what is above overhead supply. So you don't, so you can navigate appropriately, right? So if I were to just see real quickly 0.16% for SPX, give or take implied open, this could change a little bit over the next 15 minutes here, but roughly speaking, 6750-ish. So 6755, 6750 is at or around, okay, the implied open. Give me a plus or a minus 3-7 points, okay, off the open. I get that information and I go over to this handy dandy tool called Options Depth. I'm not affiliated with them or anything like that at TradePhantoms, but it's a beautiful tool to look for what's called market maker gamma exposure. Very heavy topic. We do have classes in regard to this if you're new on the YouTube here, okay? This is advanced stuff here. You probably want to understand options because this is mainly options here. Short story long, long story short here is I'm looking for either dark colors, okay, or extremely light colors. So it's going to be dark greens and blues. That's what's called positive gamma. You will also see dark yellows and reds. That's what's called negative gamma. Positive gamma, okay, just think of those as brick walls. So if we're rallying above that, if our current price is below it and rallying up into it, that could be used as a wall, okay, to punch through. If we have positive gamma or dark blue and green below, and prices dropping down into it, that can be used as a floor. Okay, now these red and yellows are what's called negative gamma, negative gex, and prices could really go through that, okay, very quickly. So that's the opposite of a brick wall or a floor, right? That's like glass, and it could just go break and shatter and move. All right, to give you an analogy, if I kind of zone in a little bit here, the implied open is what, 67.50-ish, give or take. So I go over to that price right here, and that's 67.50. Here's the breakdown by open interest options strike. Okay, calls are in green, puts are in red. Anything to the right or bought options, everything to the left or sold options. Okay, key takeaway here: 6750. We do have a little bit of a negative gamma node, a little bit above. Okay, 6750 up into a positive gamma node, which is very small, but a little something there at 6770. Okay, then we have a negative gex above with a little positive gamma node at the 85 handle, massive positive gamma at the 6800, right? Call it 6810s. Okay, so SPX, if we were to rally 50 points potentially, if we get up to the 68, that is going to be massive, massive, massive supply in the market as prices rally up here. If that were to happen to potentially today, okay, market makers would have to sell into that. Okay, so don't really see SPX. Anything could happen, right? But 6800, massive ceiling up there. We do have above at 85 handle 6785 in the SPX. A little bit of a negative gex above there. Okay, so prices, if we get above 85, okay, could kind of quickly go through that level and get up into the 6800. Okay, but we have 6770 to get through first. In the event that we drop down, we have a little bit of a gamma node 6745 right below price. Nothing too crazy, but definitely want to be aware of that. Okay, as you can see, we have this bot call and this bot put. Just based on the market maker gamer exposure here. So therefore, if prices were to come down, that's going to provide some demand support, call it the 67.45-ish. So right off the open. Okay, if we were to break lower, you can see a little bit of negative gex, but nothing too crazy. All right, there's more negative gex above. So pretty interesting. So we have some support below and some negative gex above, which could allow this market to kind of go through there. I do want to pin the 6770 in regard to the positive gamma, and because that's above the 6750 implied open right now, 6770, I'll put a positive gamma node. I'll put this in red. Why? Because if we were to open here at the 50, if we rally up into this 6770, this is going to provide some natural kind of supply as the market makers would have to sell, okay, to hedge their order book coming up into this area here. Okay, so I'll just put that on the dock right there. And then below, there you go, Bobby. Caught the bottom of Meta. And Bobby, share that experience, brother. Caught the bottom of Meta yesterday. Felt good. Why? Why, Bobby? And speak simply, right? One color, orange. Extended on small time frames, higher time frame into the monthly. August low. So if Phantoms members know the deal here. Is it harder to break Vanna flips? Yeah, because volatility is a slithering snake, Mark Wahlberg. Yes. All right, I'll update y'all on this really briefly. Positive gamma, nothing too crazy. Of course, we got 67 here. Nothing too crazy there. We're going to be opening up for a little bit of a positive gamma node, so we'll see. So this unfilled gap today could potentially, as we're gapping up, this unfilled gap could potentially be key today in the S&P and NASDAQ complex here. Small gamma node here. Positive gamma node, that is. Yep, and I'm going to get to some individual tickers very quickly right now as we go through. Qs really briefly. QQQs is the ETF for the NASDAQ, weekly on left. All right, daily on right. So we had a red bar pain gap yesterday in this. Okay, red bar close, and then Monday we had a gap up. Okay, that's a pro gap up. Not much fall through yesterday, but another decent little gap up here. A little bit of a pain gap here. on QQQs. Interesting. Watch out for that unfilled, and also unfilled gap now that we'll have not only for today but also to from Mondays or Fridays close into Mondays open here. And of course, just as always, watch out for yesterday's prior day low sweep here. Apple. What's going on, Montu? Your hot pocket on Friday. And good job, Montu. Hot pocket on Friday worked out. That negative GEX below. And then you got your 4,000 gold future. So hopefully you took profits graciously, Montu. Good job, Cisco. I see you. Apple, basing. New all-time high. Potentially, this thing has been a catfishing a little bit here. We have wide range bar. All right, just been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Apple's a couple points away from new all-time high here, so potentially could go. So just choppy here. I have to proof trust intraday. It's been a couple of day trades here and there for it to go. I'm sure that I want to be careful saying this, but potentially a new all-time high, potentially pending at some point. Very close. It's right there, flirting with it. Amazon, kind of choppy, kind of messy, and out of all the FANG members here, Mag 7, if you will, kind of choppy, kind of messy here, right? So in terms of Amazon. So just watch out with this. Did a little bit of a liquidity sweep yesterday below last week. The prior day's low here. Last week was just dull in Amazon here. We had a drop coming down into some areas here and just up, down. Monday, for what it's worth here, we did sweep below last week. So we're going to quickly put in the hammer bar here. We're back in mid-range, okay? But we're still in mid-range, so you want to be a little more careful with this as it's been ranging. But just keep an eye on it as well intraday, because it could pop. To give you an example, Microsoft, for example, was almost doing the same exact thing as kind of Amazon, but of course different formation. But we just been basing. Anybody finally catch Microsoft out there for a day trade pop yesterday? Caught some Microsoft yesterday. Finally, we kind of broke out. We started to get some nice clear closes yesterday. And if you traded yesterday, there was only a couple of Mag 7 stocks that were really working nicely, at least supporting the bullish side for right there as the markets were up. Microsoft and Google popped, and then we had Tesla as well. And then Meta towards the end of the day, or kind of mid-afternoon, kind of popped as well. All the other Mag 7s really didn't do much. So we finally have a nice little range break on Microsoft. We were kind of dropped and then back up, kind of inside bar here. They swept it last week, base, got some nice little fall through yesterday. We'll see if we get some continuation. We have this weekly high here. Then we have a August, and also should be mapping out September's high as well, somewhere up here. So we have this 532. So if long, we have some continuation. Make sure we're taking profits diligently for day trades, swing trades, intermediate swing trades, up into the 532s, up into this 537s and 538s, 40s. Okay, above here would be a new monthly high, not an all-time high. But if we get some fall through on this, this is where we take some profits. Now, just because we have this breakout bar doesn't mean we're going to just go straight up here. We could pull back, et cetera, in the small time frames. But definitely Microsoft is here after a base and break. You could potentially get some what's called fall through to the upside as the energy now has bursted. We'll see if that goes through. Microsoft has been a little bit of a heartbreaker intraday, so be careful with that. Skipped over from AVGO as I was kind of painting an illustration picture of other tickers. AVGO, another one that I love here. The challenge with this, still macro up, nice on a little pullback phase here, right? Impulse correction, impulse. We're still pulling back, okay? Pulling back in some interesting area here. It's been battling and fighting, so just be a little bit cautious on this. I love me some AVGO ticker, but lately, just because of the condition that it has been in, I'd be a little more cautious on this. I own this in my long-term portfolio. Who doesn't at this point? Shaved out some shares, etc. But for day trading purposes, right at the moment, I've just been being a little bit patient with this thing here. I've had a couple wins, couple losses as kind of navigating this pullback here phase. Overall, with this higher time frame, kind of still gradually up. So we have a fight ensuing here. So just be cautious with it. There's some other tickers that might be a little bit more better in terms of setups at the moment. Google, right? Same thing. We have massive up post earnings, just massive up. It did finally catch up into some monthly view ups in the 20 PM moving average tag kind of last week into this. Okay. Green bar. Yesterday was a nice little nice little pop on this. Site gap down here. Keep an eye on this. Google trades a little weird sometimes, where it'll be funky kind of in the morning, and then maybe late day it'll kind of pop on you. So make sure Google proves to you that's an actual setup. And if you don't know what a setup looks like, hey, come to TradePhantoms.com and we can help you fix that. Yeah. Okay. So all seriousness, but just be careful with this slight gap down into this yesterday's range. So let make sure that proves to you in terms of intraday tape. Tesla, I missed an easy short on Friday on this. Friday, last week's low sweep. Did anybody pick up on the 20-pip moving average? We had a beautiful, they were gunning for that last week's low. This was Friday, last week's low sweep into that 20-pip moving average. I don't know if anybody snagged into that. I picked up a little something. I already took profit on it yesterday, even though I did like next Friday's expiration. I'm not sure. It looks like, I know it sounds crazy, but the all-time high in Tesla at the moment is 488. I'm studying the options on this. There's a lot of activity right now happening at the 500. I don't have enough time right now before 4 minutes before the open. Okay, we did have a nice little pro gap up on Monday from Friday's close here after the last week's low. That was a sneaky little last week's low sweep as Tesla, moved up, gapped up. We had a couple levels up here, kind of planned for this for what's called a mean reversion trade, which we caught. The team is on fire with this kind of stuff. Okay, but then we had a massive mean reversion all the way down here. Last week's low, 20-pip moving average here, swiped. Friday's close here, pro gap up here, follow through on Tesla so far for Monday. Then we have a slight gap down lower here. Okay, so this is what I was mentioning. Even though Tesla had a bad Thursday and Friday, we still have not broken any of the structure in terms of dailies. Okay, et cetera. Okay, and just doing a beautiful thing here, mean reversion. So slight gap down here. If this thing picks up some bullishness, I would have no problem getting long. Okay, but it could kind of go sideways here for another base, as there's a lot of energy right now with Tesla. We got Microsoft. We already kind of covered that a little bit there. Meta, 3 minutes before open. I'll get to Dell, IBM on fire, PLTR indeed. So just really quickly on Meta, it's been doing this. Meta's been a beautiful uptrend up until I'd say August, and then September, and say even coming into October, it's been you can go bullish and bearish on this, right? So pick your spots wisely. This is what Bobby was mentioning here. We have this August low down in here. So those monthlies, Phantoms members will know my favorite time frame on the planet is monthlies. You can see they quickly tagged that quick little new monthly low right there in August. Okay, getting extended. We have a move down, red bar, gap down yesterday, red bar. This looks like Meta was about to bleed to death, right? Okay, hit a monthly low tag. Anybody who chased shorts down here, ouch, boom, closed hammer bar. So a lot of emotion here. And then today's quote here, slight gap up, right? So we could potentially have anybody who shorted, because, albeit past 2 weeks and Meta has been down. Okay, we had a little bit of a hammer bar here and had a gap up. It lasted about a day or two, and then we gapped up. Okay, then we slammed lower. So a lot of energy here, but this hammer bar here is actually a bigger one versus the one that we had last week, and with an actual monthly low tag. Okay, so interesting there. Make sure that we have the intraday tape allowing us to potentially support this potential bullish setup too as well. Just because we have this hammer bar doesn't mean we're going to go straight up. Could have a potential setup right off the open, but we could trickle down lower, of course, and play devil's advocate, not just be all crazy here, but don't get me wrong, we could easily just still have that momentum lower and potentially come back down and maybe even test this low, or have a battle test and maybe create another pivot down here. Too early for that before the market open, so I kind of want to move on. AMD. Hopefully y'all own this in your long-term portfolio, but massive gap up due to the deal with the ChatGPT. Okay, AMD using the processors, the chips, etc. AMD went berserk yesterday, right? Be careful, the implied volatility is high on this, but yeah, this could potentially kind of fade lower a little bit here, and you pick some up. Okay, pick some up. We'll get to that as well if we have an intraday tape set up on that. People wanted me to look at IBM real quick. IBM, we own this. All right, on this rotation lower down here. Nice breakaway gap there in the news right now. So IBM's new all-time highs. Congratulations to the team that accumulated into this. Hit Phantoms on this weekly pullback in here. Perfect setup. Okay, not only for day trading but also long-term investing. We got our move to new all-time high. Can shave off some shares. Okay, and potentially for a day trade, that would have to prove. PLTR. Massive big move down here off that move. We're sifting through that at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we make a new all-time high, but this is getting a little crazy. I would lean against this bar. We have to take this red bar out and yesterday was just an inside day, so I'm going to stay a little away for PLTR at the moment for day trading wise at the moment because of the pullback, and we're just in the middle of that red bar there. Market just opened. Ding, ding, ding. Let me switch this to the 2. Dell. Let that digest a bit there. Journals. Advanced declines, positive 400. Not super extreme, but positive. Positive, or extremes, I should say, would be positive negative 2,000. Printing positive 400. Volatility slightly higher. Of course, gap up. Too early for cumulative tick. Put a pin on that. Make sure ups and depth is loaded here. Again, as mentioned, a little bit of a negative GEX above. Netflix is on the list. NVIDIA put in a wide range bar. Netflix swept, looking good. The team was on this. Nice 200 bar print there. See NVIDIA. What's the ticker? Rabizek. I'm probably saying that wrong. Let me see. Netflix. Netflix giving us a decent little 2-minute bar print there. I don't want to delete any other work there. Let's see, 1200. See Netflix on call. Netflix on call, setting up pretty decent. See this week's expiration. All right, Netflix is a beast. I wouldn't want to get too far away from the. This spread's kind of wide on this, but that's Netflix for you. Wouldn't want to get too far away from the 1200 here. All right, where's my delta? It's about a 35 delta. That's going for about a 990. The spread's going to be annoying there for you. Decent little setup. I'm going to get long some spies here. Just really quickly off the open. Get long some spies. You just do 0 DTE. Yeah, Amazon's creeping. You see that, Jason, right? I'll pick up the 663 spies here. Yeah, Amazon long call creeping. I'm gonna get some long spies. Let's pick up these 673 strike calls. These are going to be spy long calls. Amazon, nice little bar print there. Grab this in my other account really quickly. Today's the 7th. Expiration there. All right, copy this code. Amazon long call. Get it. Let's put this here. Let me grab Amazon long calls real quick. I'll update the notes. Tesla breaking out of its opening day's bar print there. All right, Amazon long call here. I'll pick up the 2-2 half here. Tesla long call taking out its red bar. I'll make the notes later. That's Amazon. Good job, Jason. Definitely probably could have gotten this a little bit earlier, 280s. Tesla's getting away from me a little bit here. Rabizek, if I'm saying that right. I'm probably saying it wrong. I don't mean to. I can barely read. But yeah, Forex is just a market. It's just buying and selling. Demand supply works in all markets, right? So, yeah. I trade Forex myself, just like this. Not exactly like this, a little bit different in terms of style, but yes, demand supply, same thing. Tomato. So long call Tesla here. I don't want to get too far away from the 60 handle here, but I can maybe pick up the like a 30 delta here, 645. I'm sorry, 465. Right, he's going for about 465 long call. This will be Tesla. All right, you can see Amazon pulling back just a little bit there. Let me grab this real quick on tests. All right. All right. So that's Tesla. All right, let's continue here. You can see Amazon pulling back. Let me I'm gonna actually add it to Amazon here. One here. I'm gonna add to Amazon. added. You see PLTR, did it move? It's going. Still in Friday's bar there. Nice little play though. Nice little play there. It's set up intraday. It's a TP campaign there. Nice. AMD's all over the news. Netflix, basing. Not much follow through off the open here. Amazon. Monthly view up was annoying there. Let's see. VIX on an uptick for right now. So I don't like that give back. I don't like the wide range bar give back on Amazon here. It's annoying because it's a mid range. Shouldn't be pressing this one. PLTR was better than Amazon. IBM doing its thing. Yeah, the video's trying to do something there. The past 2 weeks have been annoying because markets would be up, but Mag 7 just fade lower, and then you try to short it, and then you get your face ripped off to the upside. NVIDIA did just give us a nice little, it's trying to grind its way. PLTR, IBM. It's crazy. Those are two stocks that we were kind of focusing on last week. IBM's great. PLTR is following through. So I already have some bullish exposure. This would be an ad on Tesla. NVIDIA is giving us something there. And you can see Microsoft fading on that. Fading on that big move yesterday. All right, so NVIDIA long call. Might be able to get this. I'm personally going to add to Tesla here, okay? I just added to Tesla. What's in there? Make sure I got some TP orders out here. It's a TP order there. It's the call premium for the 465 long call on test. Spots fade in. Let me see. We're looking at Visa is when its thing carryover from last week, and we got the vid. The vid. It'll take higher. VIX still down slightly, not spiking. Still got those SPY calls. No reason to get out at the moment. VIX on VIX lower, vol D up slightly. Video. It's doing its thing. Pick up the 187 half, can pick up maybe the 190 strike. Long call the vid here. So what's this? I just snagged the 190 strike call here. Not much follow through. All right, so that's a long call the vid, right? Good job, Pinsky. Whoa. All right, that's all pop in the video. Spies, AMD, Tesla basing. Let's get GP some of the video here. See, playing in Amazon's range. We're going to get to Amazon. Spies. See him on to. All right, so here's Amazon. Premiums are down to 225. These are flowing down on here. I can get to that. Spies. Spies. Just wanted to get my thumb on the pulse on some spies. Low delta, but these are down 40 cents here. Qs are just not even moving at all. Nvidia new high. IBM pulling 2 VWAP. So I got spies, long call, low delta. SPX. Y'all gotta be patient, man. I could tell y'all are some virgins up in this mall. Y'all haven't been through real shit. Can't handle a 40-cent pullback on your premiums? Get a new job. Get a new career. Go do something easier. Flip burgers? This is for real men and women. Yeah, TP some vid. Buy those puts. Buy those puts into demand on Amazon. Do it. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. All right, Tesla's looking like it wants to go. If you're freaking patient enough. No, I mean Amazon's inside day. It's been inside day for a little while now, so that's the one thing. The condition of that is not as great. See if Tesla can pop. We'll see. TP a little bit more in the video. You see those spies are still down a little bit there. We got Amazon trying to go. It's going to be a NVIDIA, a NVIDIA TP here. Nice. All right, Tesla. What are we going to do in Tesla, folks? Okay, TP. Yeah, man, I've been doing this for 16 years. You can tell, like, I'm not trying to be weird here, but like, you can tell. You could tell some people's experience. I shaped out a little Tesla there. You know, Amazon's not going so great inside range, so that's my own kind of fault from it. Actually, PLTR. I was like, that's one thing I wanted to avoid in PLTR, and then I did it in Amazon. That was a bit of a target there on Tesla. Just trying to reduce some kind of risk, get something here. NVIDIA, nice pop. Credit to Pinsky there. Dylan. Nice pop to vid. Good job, brother. Good job, TP some. All right. Good job, brother. Nice ripper. Amazon, still struggling there. So, it's annoying. Ugh, and what did I get myself into here? Look at this mess. On the dailies there. I might just have to cut this. It's just ugly. There's no structure. It's just ugly here. Even yesterday we kind of like swiped down, but whoop, right back up. So I just have to cut this risk. Amazon wrong. Out. Cut it. All right. So Amazon is gonna be an L here. I stopped out on that. SPY struggling on its VWAP for now. A little choppy right now off the open on indexes of first 30. Make sure you get out of Amazon. Could have done without that trade there. Oops. Just condition wise, just gross. So somebody was like, "Oh, you're going to short this." I mean, you could. You could fall through there, but just range. Past couple of days. All right, so this is at least good in that. There you go, Hernandez. Go ahead, Roddy. 216. So this is going to be interesting right here because we had a VWAP test. Could not reclaim. I'm going to put a fade VWAP right here. Meta. Not NVIDIA new high. That's not even doing anything to the Qs. I had to be patient on SPYs. VIX. Advanced declines lower. Evolve a little lower there too. And SPYs have one test view up here. Fall through. Potentially fill that gap. My operating SPYs at the moment down about what 50 cents on these. $0.40. Breaking down a little bit. I'm gonna add to Tesla. Let me wait on that. Yeah, it should be a TP. TP some Tesla. I want to add to it too, though, but I should have TP'd some there first, real quick. Palantir fall through. New high on that. Exit distribution there. These low delta SPY calls faded so far. S&P futures coming into some kind of intermediate demand on its VWAP. Hernandez bought Amazon puts up with it. No, don't be like that. This guy. Yeah, he might be right on. Might be right. I mean, Amazon's in a range condition on daily, so it's just annoying. It's just condition wise. Man, it's hard for me to get like. I mean, those long calls probably a little bit too early in them in the morning, a little bit there, but it's hard for me to like get short like into all this little intermediate kind of demand here. It's fading lower. And blow you up. VIX is on an uptick, indeed. This would be my time to add a Tesla in VWAP here. Come on. So slow. Yeah, so this is going to be my ad here on Tesla. So slow, this computer. Because it's restream. Tesla is going to go up. We'll see. We'll see, Mike. Money Mike. We'll see, brother. All right, so we clearly have some structure here where markets, S&Ps that is, are giving us low high. However, we got this unfilled gap. We were talking about this gamma node too, right? We have negative GEX above. All right. So even if I wanted to short in the indexes, or at least here SPYs, you want to rally up into here, right? So this would be sell short to enters. Now, if you're still holding on to those long calls, this would be where we would potentially sell to exit some of those long calls as a reduced exposure. All right. So liquidity wise, so I'll make the font bigger there for you folks, right? Sell short to enter with so far for the first 30 minutes, 40 minutes with day trade lower low, lower high. Now, if you happen to still be in those long calls, this would also be an area where you can potentially reduce some exposure. Sell to close some too early long calls. All right, we can rally up there. Pull a fade view up. Or if we get a negative close, negative COG. Oh, here. We got, what is this last week's view up right here too? There's really no strong level there. There's really no strong level there. Below that view up there. So even futures have like Ribizek, do you know how to sell puts, brother? Do you know how to sell puts for long-term portfolio? It might not be the greatest price to get long shares for long-term portfolio. On these drop down over the last Thursday to Friday, selling puts lower could potentially help you there in the event, because Tesla obviously could drop down a little bit more lower, right, for the long-term portfolio. If I have more at Phantoms classes, we go a little more into detail with this because I have more due time. But I will say, because Tesla's one of my favorite stocks. But like if you use these drop down here to maybe sell some cash secured puts lower down here, and if it doesn't get there, you get to keep the premium as you kind of like working on it up here. All right. Amazon. It's kind of going back up there, right? I'm not trying to be like, hey, I'm not corny like that, but at the end of the day, folks, it's just inside range. That's all. So bulls and the bears, this could be going up a little bit here today, and then like later today, it's going back down, and then say, so you go, oh yeah, I see how towards going back. It's like Amazon is the one laughing at all of us, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, we're a team in here. We all have the same goal, right? We're not trying to be better than worse than anybody here. We're trying to help each other, right? But at the end of the day, folks, is Amazon giving us a big LOL? You guys are so funny, like talking about long short. It's like I've been range swiping up, swiping down, swiping up for the past 2-3 weeks. Does that make sense to you? All right. So what do? You just kind of avoid it, or you look at the higher time frames. Macro's still up. That's what I'm saying to Ruby, right? It's like, well, just be careful with that. Just because it's not going up doesn't mean we're just going to go short down here, right? Because if you look at the monthly and the weekly, daily, still up, 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 up. Right. I'm a little bit more nicer these days. But I mean, daily's kind of annoying and rangy, right? But even the weeklies are choppy, but we're still holding up its ground here. And even if it did go lower, that would be potentially a quick swipe. All right, I missed my chance to take action on SPY. You got to TP some NVIDIA. Just has a nice bar off its VWAP, but SPY is a little heavy at the moment. TP NVIDIA. NVIDIA is looking like it's fixing for a new high. All right, if Tesla's going to go, this positive CRG here would need to be respected and to go through, fall through. Now you can see SPY's super heavy off that VWAP there, yeah. Yeah, added to Tesla already, Pinsky down there. I want to impress, me and Tesla, but be a little patient with it. SPYs are heavy at the moment, so it's a negative CRG below fade. All right, so I got to cut these. I got to cut these calls, man. It just is what it is. I did a low delta on these, but these are going to be cut out. All right, 60 cents. But just gonna cut them. Charts are telling me to cut them, at least for the moment. All right, SPY's lost here. Negative CRG. Excuse me. All right, bring. Trying to go faster, but this thing is super slow on return. I get too excited sometimes with when I see negative GEX regimes, and they take all day to unravel. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't even make it to the low on S&Ps, and we just rip right back up. But I would need to realign my delta anyways on those. Okay. You can lean against this bar as a negative COG here. As bearish. But again, the only annoying thing about that, Amazon's setting up for kind of a re-entry at long. mags are doing all right. It's equal weighted. Netflix. Yeah, I gotta have patience, folks. I don't know, kind of an airy kind of price action that we've been getting. We're supposed to be getting catalysts and news, and we really are not getting it because of the U.S. playing politics. Politics being politics. Politicians playing politics. So as mentioned, you can lean against this negative CRG here. Some puts intraday, but the S&P futures are really, they're hovering at a level. So here's what I want to hold your cards tight for a little bit. Mixed signals. It's been like that for about a week or two now. But the side right now is VWAP-ish, would be lower. Not a strong lower, but a light lower. So I'd be light delta on it. Nvidia's still chugging there, trying to. So anytime I do SPYs as opposed to SPX, it's kind of like be careful with it. So this could easily get stopped out too, folks. You could look at the daily bar so far. It's only, and not even an hour in just yet, but Doji so far still super early. Powers to be up, but we're fading lower below VWAP. So if you were to get some like low delta put on SPY, for example, where are you? We're trading what, 72 basically, right? So you picked up a 72, basically it would be at the money, 50 delta for 80 cents. Give me some risk on this. And I just keep my delta low and, kind of be close to the tape here. I'll put the puts over here. So if you were to buy these puts, if that negative COG fails out back above VWAP for the day, I would just cut out of these. All right, but if you were to buy these at like right now, like 80 something odd cents here, right? You put your stop loss, essentially this would be the VWAP give out. Like, when I see something like this, 63, 60 cents, and I see 57, I'll just put my stop loss below here, call like 55 cents, and risk about 30 cents. All right, for a low risk entry. All right, so if I were to do that here, boink, boink. Long put, which would be bearish. Right? Come on, computer. This computer's good. It's just a restream slow. Makes it slow. So it's a long put bearish, right? Just snag this my other account over here real quick. Long put, which is a bearish buy put. And this could, if this thing just, okay, if he takes out this here, stop loss, like what, 55 cents, give or take, on in terms of premium, which would be about 30 something odd cents of risk, right? Yeah, Lily, exactly. All right, so there's the put premium for the Qs, the 672 long put. No, not the Qs, the spies. I apologize. Spies. We're still just at like kind of a VWAP test, Janky Janks. But Tesla on the daily is in a little bit of a mid-range from just the past couple of weeks ago, where we ripped up, hit the weekly level that we pulled back, and then swiped last week's low. Red bar closes on Friday, Thursday and Friday, big red bars, and then we had a gap up on Monday for a pro gap, and now we're just kind of we're battling right now. So, we're below its VWAP here for sure. On it. Got some long spies for puts. So if the spies were to drop lower, these put premiums are going to increase. Okay, so sell short to enter, or buying a put is bearish, right? I'll get to Tesla next. I'll put bearish. Essentially stop loss is going to be up here now, right? So if it doesn't fall through, it gets stopped out. So if this rallies up, this put premium will decrease. As this is dropping lower, this put premium is increasing. So that'd be good. So we can have targets up here to take some profit on some long puts as the S&P drops lower. So this would be take profit from shorts, right? I'll just put this blue to represent buy. All right, so these would be TP from shorts or bearish trades, right? That'd be target orders above here, right? Trying to go faster, folks. Man, come on. There you go. Okay. And we got Tesla. Let me just because I'm here right now. I get to Tesla. This computer, because of Restream, it's just going so slow. Come on, here we go. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. So slow. All right. Trying here. So annoying. All right. Now Joe Frank is even mentioning about a positive gamma dog too, right? So I get to Tesla. Oh man, Carvana's probably ripping, right? All right, let's TP some more of these puts on SPYs. Nvidia pulling back. Hopefully LTP's on. Tesla printing 470s. Those are down a buck on me. All right, so we got SPYs here. TP some. I hear you, Pinsky. All right, make sure you TP. Whoops. I usually would move a lot faster than this, folks. You can see I'm already like on my next couple of clicks with the computer. It's the Restream software, folks. I never know it. All right, Tesla. So I usually, if it doesn't come all the way back to, here's the opening block print on the small time frame. Now, let me go over to Thinkorswim very quickly because it just has everything kind of like laid out a little bit better in terms of the monthly, weekly, daily. I don't have to switch through so many time frames. So I got a monthly here, weekly, and a daily here, right? So we've been in this pinch for a little while now, and finally we just squeezing, and then we just broke out, right? So this is what we're talking about in regard to what's that guy's name? Gentleman's name, Ribsky or something like that, right? Talking about long-term investing in terms of Tesla. That would be a lot lower here. You have to like sell some puts, right? Now we are up here. It could take off and hit potentially a new all-time high 500. We'll see. Of course, we had last Thursday and Friday with this massive pullback here, right? But all that did was just kind of swipe below a prior weekly low. I mentioned that a little bit there in the morning. You can go watch this YouTube and watch them from the beginning there. I mentioned that a little bit there, and off that present 20 PM moving average as well. This was last week's low when we were trading last week. So we went from like this weekly high, which we were talking about as a team there, and then we dropped from there, of course, for mean revert. Definitely did mean revert, went all the way to a last week's low last week. That was on Friday right there, doing really quick. And that last week's low swipe right there was also at that rising 20 PM moving average. Okay, pretty powerful there, right? And then we had a close there on Friday. We gapped up. This is a bit of a pro gap, a little bit of pain gap too, right? Because everybody loves to just short Tesla. It's always top 3 shortest stocks on the planet because people are political and hate Elon for whatever reason. We don't play politics at Phantoms. Pro gap up yesterday, green bar closed. Now we had a slight gap down here today, right? And now we're just kind of basing. So the annoying thing about this is we haven't really taken out the prior day low, prior day high, because Monday was a setup bar where we had a red bar close here, pro gap up. Okay. The only caveat that I will say, is that we are 2 standard deviations outside of the weekly a little bit there. We did pull back a little bit on Friday, which was great. We came back in. We're flirting with it a little bit out here on the monthlies as well, but that's not until the 475 and above. Okay, we're trading 450s, 470s, and 450s essentially rounding. Okay, so you see how we have a little, right? We have a movement down, still overall up, movement down Thursday, Friday, liquidity sweep, move up, gap up, move it up here. So we have the forces here coming, and then we just have, overall just, forces to be, with the pullback down here, and we're kind of battling right now. And as we speak right now, folks, here's the daily bar for today, albeit only 1 hour into today. So that move down, price gap up, and we have a doji, we have a wick higher, and almost an exact wick lower, and we're right on the opening price. So as we are speaking right now, folks, is Tesla like in a battle of the higher time frames, just up versus, yes, it is a bit high there. It's trying to calm down a little bit. from last week, but this week being Monday, we're trying to chug back up, and that's creating just kind of a battle between the buyers and the sellers. Okay. All right. So if I cut this right now, it's just I'm cutting it when the battle is still. I want to see one. Obviously, I'm bullish right now because I'm I'm long calls intraday. All right, but if I cut that right now, it really didn't break anything, and I have to almost use at least yesterday's low as that setup bar to give this a little bit of a chance. Now, Pinksky Dylan, I call him Pinksky. His name is Dylan in here. He's the man. He knows the liquidity very well. Been a Phantom for quite some time now. What he's mentioning is he's just going to let this go at total premium loss. Now, he has the capital to do that, meaning that, okay, if he bought these options for $6 or $5.90 or whatever the case is, he's okay with losing that total premium. Okay, not everybody is willing or able or even maybe potentially wanting to, right? You can have $7 million in your account right now, but you don't want to lose $5.80 on these long calls to have total premium risk. And I totally get that, right? One thing that you can say, okay, well, Mr. Blue, then where can I stop out on this? Well, if we take out this, for example, either two things, either yesterday's low all the way down here, which would be some sizable risk there. You're not going to be risking the whole total premium there, but that would be sizable risk there. Okay. If that, which you want to be a little careful with this because you could get swiped, because there's a level right there, right below. If you were to stop out right below today's low, you might be a little annoyed with that because you might get stopped out for liquidity just right when it's coming into a level of demand here. All right, so that's what's annoying about this at the moment is because, we took out this bar. We haven't really made a new low today. We're just kind of like, we are grinding a little bit lower now. It can't reclaim VWAP back here. Where's the arrow? Here. Okay. So, and we had failure off of this so far. All right, that failed on an intraday basis. All right, but we haven't really taken this out yet. There's going to be some risk there. We got that. Yes, I mean it's only Tuesday, right? But this is Monday. This was Monday's VWAP. That is going to be this week's. Why did that even come out of my mouth? This is going to be this week's VWAP right here, and we're on that right now as we speak. So a little bit of this is basically like yesterday's VWAP carrying it over into today, but it's going to obviously be this week's VWAP as we progress through the day. All right, so as we stand right now on them, depending on what your average fill is, because I entered TP'd a little bit here and there, then I entered lower down here, average fill, right? So these are floating down about $1 on you, right? Give or take $1.20, $1.30, depending on your average fill. If you don't feel too comfortable with that, and you say, okay, I want to give it a little bit of room because I want to get nicked out, you could put your stop loss below this premium, which would be essentially like a new low on day. But this would be the area where you'd stop out, right? To control some smaller risk there. And you can see SPYs are pretty heavy there too. Just good. We're on the put side. Let's TP some more SPY puts here. All right. All right, there was SPY puts lower. All right, TP some of these SPY puts. All right, TP. And you see Tesla's holding up that bid there with a SPY dump. All right, so buy to take profit, right? Buy to cover TP. That's a long put, so you have to sell some of these puts to realize gain, right? All right, stop loss can be at break even at this point now on the spot puts, right? So just find your order and trail it up above break even, maybe a tick or two to cover some commish. And that can't hurt you no more there. All right, so it took a loss on spot early in the morning, but you see how patiently, just being patient with it, and yes, yay, worked out, but got an Amazon loss. And it's rallying back up though, so hopefully, Rubik, you're all right with that, brother. Tesla's still kind of pending. Some other tickers are kind of cranking and rocking out there. Mark Wahlberg was asking about OD here. And Montu, I think he banged out earlier for today, but early today, Montu's a good valued Phantom member. We're talking about the, what was it, Friday? We were like above, and we had this negative GEX below, and then late, right when we ended the session, about 30 minutes later, SPX and markets just sifted right through this negative GEX that we're trading. But so today we have negative GEX above. So be careful. We're still in a bull market. This was what Joe Frank was talking about here. We have a bunch of positive gamma over here. But there's a bunch of put sellers. We have market makers are long put, long gamma all down here, folks. So make sure you're TPing those puts aggressively. If you get these little swipes lower, make sure you're TPing. The darker that this gets into the blue, the more demand that will come into as market makers would have to buy. As market's coming down, price action wise, market makers have to buy into that. Okay, heavy one here, 6, 7, 10 on the SPX, 6710. All right, next little one right here. Actually, we have one at the 6730, which is a decent one. We have one at 6720, and then we got a big one there at 67, call it 05. All right. Kurt G, my man, asking about the G trap for I think the S&Ps. All right, and line there's Globex low. There's the prior day's low as well. So this is all on recording in the beginning of the session, so y'all can rewind that if need be, if you see fit, or if you're just taking it over yourself personally there. But yeah, I mean, for Globex low, we need what, about another 10 points lower, and then we had about 10, maybe 20 before we get to yesterday's low, and that would be SPX. That'd be SPX. You know, 10 will bring us to 25-ish. 20. Yeah, I mean, this below yesterday's low, this area right here, 6, 7, 10. This will be a massive positive for today, at least. Massive positive gamma. So here, I'll take this green line here to represent. That's Friday's low. This 67.05 handle. massive positive gamma. That'd be demand. Okay. Last week's VWAP. So even on a very small time frame, being the 1 hour time frame here, even if we did come lower down here, team, we just made a new high here, right? All-time high. Even if we did come down into this area here, do we break any? Would we be breaking any structure even on a small time frame, albeit the 1 hour time frame on the S&P 500 complex at the moment? So like impulse correction. So even down here, okay, down in this area here, we're not really breaking any structure. So these are going to be some sweet spots. Okay, markets could pick up some kind of bid down in here. Give or take, it's not the greatest level. We'd have to wait for the S&P futures to maybe flush below G trap, and this was yesterday's low. This is Friday's low, massive positive gamma node at 6705 here. Okay, darkness, dark blue. So 6705, putting that SPX price 605, that's below yesterday's low, would be also below G trap low for today, and at or around Friday's low, right, or around that 6700. This is last week's VWAP here, okay, which was a nice little breakout week, okay. From the 2 weeks ago, we had that correction. Okay, so it's a nice little breakout here. And these are the demand zones that were left kind of residually off of last week. Yesterday's low reference, this low here, 6,700. So it's going to be a little bit of a sweet spot here. All right, so if you are still into these long puts, which I still have some because I'm not out, just trail my stop to break even. If it is at break even right now, by the way, I got to get a clip out of those. But if you'd still be long these puts, potentially if we make a new low in the S&P, this will make new highs. Make sure you're going on a very profit take campaign, especially as we get down lower into Friday's low, and or if we happen to swipe down and below the 6705s. All right, on SPYs. And yes, I got us on the right side here now, right? Another negative CRG here. Pending body covers, and you will be the tape price action. These blues going to be targets lower, right? All right, nice little supply zone left on the twos right there on that little drop VWAP test. This would be where you would enter, engage, add some bearish. I'll just make a red box there, represent bearish, right? Simple enough. All right, so it's got negative COG below fade, below this week's VWAP only being Tuesday. This is yesterday's VWAP now, right? And fade below VWAP, so TP. All right, this is where you'd want to get more entry longs. So not only TP from shorts down here, but this is going to be location for longs, potentiality. I'll make that small letter head, and then I'll make this one a bit more bigger. We just discussed a couple things here in regards to this, right? So I'll just make that bigger for more emphasis. That would be the better one, right? Lower, as we previously just discussed. All good, Kurt. My man Curtis. Oh, my man Mark Wahlberg making me check Netflix, and I totally forgot. Did it fall through? Indeed it is. But that's small for something like Netflix. Netflix is a ripper. Not as of late, though. That's why you have to go to Thinkorswim daily. Ripper. Got two crazy closing open outside of two STDs. We were on top of that up there on Netflix there. Nice little pullback July. But ever since July, we have August, September, beginning of October here. A little bit rangy here, right? On the weekly, kind of a mess. But you see our little sweep, boys and girls, right there. That little sweep for October. Wink. So interesting. So Phantoms, I still kept this like get long Netflix 11.55 handle, give or take. So the Phantoms members on top of this nice little sweep here. Nice little fall through today. Pinsky in the chat is absolutely crushing things. Probably, I think Pinsky has the record for probably a Phantoms member. I've been doing this a long time. Probably Pinsky has the record for understanding liquidity, probably the fastest I've seen a human pick it up. So that kid has a big brain. Shout out to Pinsky. Dylan, as I call him. We hated each other when we first talked. Now, putting it in public, Pinsky. I got to put it out there. Now we love each other. He's the man. Good job, brother. All right. I'm well over my time. Shout out to the team. Shopee. Pick your tickers. Hold your cards tight, folks. A little bit of choppy times at the moment. Some odd tickers doing things. But this is recorded, so you can fast forward, rewind as you see fit. I'm going to bang out of here for at least for right now. I'll see some of your Phantoms members later, of course. Make sure you trade diligently. If you would want to learn a little bit more about this and check this out, you can go to TradePhantoms.com, right? If you were to click on this register tag here, it'll bring you to a prompt. Name, email, phone number, etc. You'll get sent to the link for a live trading analysis set or a live session dated October 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll be hosted by either Mr. Black or the Mr. Green. Sometimes they'll do that together. Spies new low, TP's on there, knocks them out. Take off even I'm not going to do the math on this yet, but I'm just going to knock out the contract right here. Boom, boom. New low tag on spies, TP tag on spies. All right. Mr. Green, Mr. Black will kind of host that about 90 minutes, give or take. Here's the agenda. You can kind of look at that, how markets work. We're all pros here. Multi-direction, up, down, even sideways, and options. Not just about stock, futures, forex, even options, even crypto, right? Trading for income. We have people that are in high school still. Not that age matters, all the way to wealth management, people in their retirement, kind of just managing their long-term portfolio, 70s, etc. Everybody in between, age doesn't matter, right? If you like it, great. If you don't like it, all good as well. We'll still continue to do our thing here. Rip tape and train people who are really serious about this. We are not, we're serious. We're not for everybody, and everybody's not for us. You'll see that. But yeah, that's where to start. Somebody like a guy like Pinsky, Dylan, as I call him, started here. Everybody did at some point. So that. If you like it, great. If not, cool as well. All good. I'll catch y'all when I catch y'all. God bless. Take care. Trade safe. Blue out for now. Peace.